gentlemen.
What's up, my lovely lads and ladies? I'm Taylor, and you're tuned in to the Taylor James Lifestyle Show. Before we go any further, guys, you know the drill. Go ahead and share this, like this, comment on it, and like it some more. Subscribe. Today, we are, it seems like every day I do a podcast, we're doing something different and new, which, for those of you that know me, know that that's pretty accurate. Love trying new things, love being spontaneous and weird, so that's what we're doing today, being spontaneous and weird. Today's episode is going to be a story. We are going to be talking about a story that inspires me, that it's a story that I've been raised around my entire life. I've been told from the time I was very, very young this story, and it inspires me almost on a daily basis. And so I figure, excuse me, we will go ahead and talk about it today. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into this story I got. This is the story of Lars and Eddie going to Sweden. Again, guys, little preface here. This is a story that I was told. It's a family story. That's why it's so close to my heart, and why it inspires me so much. But I just wanted to share it with you guys because it sometimes can be hard to find motivation and inspiration, and it seems like a lot of times when I do that, I look to maybe people around me, or maybe my family, or my family's history. And in this instance, this is a story about I think it's my great-great-great-great-grandfather and his father, and how the Elges came to America, essentially. Well, actually, the story, we'll dive into it. And yeah, so basically, Lars, Eddie, and the mother, Eddie's mother, they were living in Idaho, and Eddie's mother had passed away, and so that's where this story picks up. So, after Eddie's mother died, his father, Lars, was very lonely. He had no relatives in America, and he didn't know how he could raise a son all by himself without any of his relatives. He had plenty of relatives in Sweden, and he wrote letters and tried to get people to come to Idaho and to help him raise his son, and everybody kind of refused. And so his family finally convinced him to move back to Sweden. And so Lars and Eddie, they pack up and they ship back out to Sweden. Now, young Eddie, he loved his new country. There were lots of female relatives to comfort him. They called him the poor motherless boy, and so he got a lot of attention. He was spoiled rotten. He had a really great life. He went to school. He made friends. He became somewhat of a local celebrity because the kids back then, or the people really, had never met an American boy. Eddie was born from Swedish parents, but he was born in America. And so he was the first American boy that they had seen. Let's see where we at. Him and his cousin Elmer became best friends. Now his father Lars was a lot less enthusiastic. And as time went on, he began to come, sorry, getting a little fucked up here and ahead of myself. Lars was less enthusiastic than Eddie was about being in Sweden. And as time went on, he began to complain about the old ways of the old country. He missed Idaho, especially Eagle Rock, the town that he had founded, and he talked about going back to America all the time. The relatives were upset. They really didn't want to hear this from old Lars. They didn't really want to, entertain the idea that their home wasn't, I guess that he didn't like it, right? He wanted to go back. He wanted, and again, he founded the town of Eagle Rock, which is now Idaho Falls in Idaho. And I don't know if it mentions it in here, but he was the mayor of that town when he died and stuff like that. And so it was really important to him. And it was a big deal to him. And I don't think his family really understood And so he would gripe and he would complain about living in Sweden and wanting to come back to America. And his relatives continued to say, no, Lars, it's fine. Lars, it's fine. Just stay here. And he agreed to stay. But then something happened to change his mind. It happened on the way this is worded is messed up, I think, but it happened on a monumentous day when the king came to town. Now, Eddie remembers being extremely excited, right? This, just as excited as the townsfolk were to meet an American boy, this American boy was excited to see the king, being young. I mean, I can even remember kings and queens, so cool and so glamorous and stuff, and it's exciting, right? And so he was a young boy. He was excited to see the king. And they basically waited and they waited, and finally the entourage appeared. Then suddenly, lo and behold, the royal carriage stopped not 10 feet from where Eddie stood. The crowd, almost as one, dropped to their knees and bowed their heads. Eddie couldn't understand it. The people waited. Sorry, I lost my place here. The people waited all that time. I need something to keep my place. This is an old text here, so it's hard for my dyslexia. My dyslexia. Let's see. Basically, Eddie couldn't understand. All the people waited all this time. He looked, even craned his neck to try and see better until he felt his hands pushing him to his knees and forcing his head down. They were his father's hands. As it turned out, the people did get to look at the king after all. He told them to rise, and they stood up and looked and cheered and waved, and the tears rolled down their cheeks as the king continued on his way. Later that day, when the family was all together, Lars announced, Eddie and I are moving back to the United States of America. My son, he said, is never going to bow to anyone again, and he never did. Sorry for fucking up a couple spots in that, but that is a story that inspires me on so many levels. That's the story of how my family came to this country. And there's another part of that that's not necessarily, it's not in this story, but it's a part of the story that inspires me a lot, is that Lars was a really, really big entrepreneur. His story is that he basically, landed on the East Coast and traveled the States, and like every time he would stop, he would open up like a drugstore or a saloon or some kind of business, and he would go and go and go, and then he finally founded the town of Eagle Rock, settled down there, became the mayor, and probably the most inspirational part of the story for me is, as a kid, I heard this story and I would say, man, where's the convenience store with our name on it? And there's pictures. I think it was Lars Drugstore, I think is what it was. Where's all our family's stuff that Lars had built, and all the stories talk about, wealth and successful entrepreneurs and things like that. I mean, a guy founded a town and became the mayor of it and stuff like that. And so I was curious, where is all the stuff? You know what I mean? Not that I was greedy and wanted stuff, but I had only ever heard the stories. I had never seen the, real life reward of Lars's work, And I'll tell you what happened to all his stuff. He basically gave it all back to the town. He was pretty old, I believe. It was right around the beginning of the Great Depression. The entire country was suffering. Everybody was poor. Everybody was hungry. People were starving. People were dying. And instead of sitting idly by while people suffered in his town, he gave people food from the shelves in his stores. He gave people medicine from the pharmacies that he owned. He gave everything back until he had nothing, so that the people of Eagle Rock, the town that he led, he gave it all back to them so that they could live longer and more prosperously for as long as they could, until he had nothing left to give. And eventually he passed away. But, you know, between that aspect of the story and between the aspect of never bowing to a king or anybody else, right? You know, I guess what brought me to tell this story today is I can't think of anything more American than that. You know, I can't think of anything that resembles the story of the American dream more than that. I think it's beautiful. He saw an issue with the way that he didn't want to see his son have to bow to anybody. You know what I mean? The American dream is freedom. The American dream is about making your own decisions, living your own life, living a prosperous life, helping other people. And that's what Lars wanted for his son. And when he saw his son bow to the king, it broke his heart. And he said never again. And he never did. Like the last line of that story says, he never bowed to another man again. And that's what this country is about. That's what it means to be an American. You know what I mean? And the other part of that is he gave everything back, you know? I like the fact that he did that more than I would appreciate the things that he had left the family, right? I think that that's way cooler. I'd rather know that than ever have a piece of anything that he ever worked for. You know, to have stores with his name on it is our family's, right? Like I'm so happy and so inspired that when his people in his town were in a place of weakness and suffering, he sacrificed things for the greater good of those people. And that's fucking American, man. That is what it means to be an American. And yeah, it gets me a little emotional, man, because it's so close to me, and I just, again, I can't stop saying how inspiring it is to me to hear a story like that, and to know that that's, you know, I don't know, it's hard to really even put into words the feelings that it gives me, you know what I mean? But again, you know, I find myself sometimes looking for inspiration and looking for wisdom or guidance. And lately, I have looked to my family. I have looked for the inspiration from the people that have been in my life for the entirety of it. And, you know, my uncle is a huge inspiration to me. My uncle is a musician, and he's been a musician for 30 plus years. My entire life he has been playing music, and he's like a big brother to me. I love the guy so much, and his story is so inspirational. I'll summarize it, but basically from the time I was born, I spent a lot of time around him. Again, he's like a big brother to me, and I looked up to him. I still do. He inspires me every day. And he, you know, had a dream of being an illustrious musician, you know, and he did not stop. And he hasn't stopped. And even when everybody else called him crazy and everybody else told him that he was silly for doing what he was doing and everybody else gave up on their dreams, that man worked day and night for years to make his dreams come true. And right now, as we speak, his dreams are happening greater than he could have ever imagined. And I'm watching it in real time happen to him. And again, I cannot explain to you guys enough how much that inspires me. And what I encourage you guys to do is look for that same inspiration from your life. Look for the people in your life that have broke the mold. Look for the people in your life that have gone against the grain and accomplished great things in the face of adversity and in the face of other people giving them shit and telling them they're crazy. I mean, that's one thing I don't think we talk about enough in society, is how possible dreams are. You know, when you put the adequate amount of work in, when you invest the right amount of time and energy, love, anger, pain, suffering into a dream, there's no way you can fail. There is absolutely no way you can fail. And when I feel like I'm failing, or when I feel like I'm not doing good enough, or I'm spinning my tires and I can't get traction, I reflect and I think about the people, the stories that are just a couple degrees of separation from me. I think about the people in my life that have made things happen contrary to what the masses believed they would do. You know, and it doesn't, for me, I'm blessed to have amazing people in my family. I mean, I look at my grandpa, I look at the other side of my family, my grandpa over there, my mom's grandpa, my great grandpa, you know, all these people. And, you know, people I've worked with in oil and gas, you know, people that I've worked with in construction or automotive. I'm so inspired by the stories that people have, because there is a story that everybody has a story. Everybody has a moment in their life where they have overcome adversity. And I find that inspiring. I find the fact that everybody's faced adversity in this fucking life. Everybody. There's not a single motherfucker who hasn't faced adversity in life. And that inspires me, because we're all doing this shit together. We are all in this together. We all go through things. We all experience speed bumps. We all experience adversity. We all experience failure. It's the human experience. And that shit inspires me. There ain't nobody out there that's doing it perfect. You know what I mean? And that gives me inspiration. That lights a fire in my soul, man. Because we're allowed to make mistakes. We're allowed to work hard towards something. We're allowed to pour every ounce of our energy and our being into a dream and watch it blossom, even if it is 15, 20, 30 fucking years from now. You know, some of the biggest dreams take the longest amount of time to build. And again, I've been so blessed in my life to see it happen right in front of my eyes that I don't know, today I just wanted to talk about that. And I want to encourage you to find inspiration in your life. You know, and it could be a multitude of things or people, or you can find it anywhere. But like I said, everybody has it. Everybody has a story that they can share. Everybody has gone through something and overcome something and became stronger from it. So find motivation from that. It's incredible to me how much motivation can be found from just looking around and just being open and ready to receive inspiration. Just reflect, just think about the people in your lives, your parents, your grandparents, your cousins, your uncles. I could go on and on and on about the things in my family that inspire me. You know, it's incredible. It's incredible. But I'll stop rambling, guys. I'll stop rambling. I just was inspired. I was inspired today. You know, I was listening to something and it made me ask myself, where do I find inspiration? You know, how do I find inspiration? Where do I go when I can't find any? You know what I mean? And this is where I go. I think about Lars and Eddie. That's my go-to to remember the path that I'm on and the things that I want to accomplish and the dreams that I have. And the other part of that is I think it's a really, really good example of what it means to be an American and what it means to be free. You know what I mean? And really, at the end of the day, you know, I find a lot of inspiration in the ways that Lars led a community and how he sacrificed his own well-being for the greater good of other people. And I think that is American. I think that is how you become a great man, you know, how you become a good human. And again, guys, it inspires me every day to be a little bit better and to be in a position to where if I can give back. You know, I can help protect and help provide, you know what I mean? And I think that's really important. That's why I do what I'm doing every day. It's not just for me. Of course, it starts with me, you know what I mean? But it's for Eddie. It's for Lars. It's for the people that did this shit before me. And it's for all the motherfuckers to come after me. I want to pave the way just like Lars and Eddie did. And I want to leave behind an inspiring story for the people that will come behind me to do great things. And nothing inspires me more than that. So, with that being said, guys, I'm going to hop off this bitch. Thank you for listening to my story time. We'll try to do some more of these. I like the idea of maybe talking about things in life that inspire us, you know, and that motivate us, and that maybe it's just the stories that we learn lessons from, you know. So we'll hop on here and we'll do more of these. But with that being said, guys, again, I'm going to get out of here. Got some shit to do and some stuff to do. So, things and stuff. All right, guys, you know I love you. Victory to everybody. Peace out, Girl Scout. Laters.